Welcome back, everyone. Armin Brott is a dad who has written a series of books on parenting.
This former Marine's latest book is called The Military Father, a hands-on guide for deployed dads. And Armin's here to talk to us about fatherhood.
So, Armin, how did you become an authority on being a father?
That's a question I guess you can ask me. You can't ask my kids that because they'll deny the entire thing. But
right.
it all started really when my wife was pregnant with our first one, and I was looking around for resources or some sort of guidance or something, role models maybe. Nothing out there. And so I started writing these snippy little essays about how I thought fathers were being ignored or left out, and one of the first ones I wrote was about fathers in children's literature, or the lack of fathers in children's literature. And I was kind of a stay-at-home dad at the time. And it was all mommy, mommy, mommy. And I had nothing against mommies at all, but it's like, hey, I'm here, and I'd like to be recognized just a touch.
Yeah.
As you should.
So that just kind of launched the entire thing.
And you know, a lot of people go, okay, I'm going to write a book about this or this or this or this. And usually they write one book and it either flies or it doesn't. So obviously you're on your fourth one. This one, The Expectant Father, has a second edition now. Yeah. So you've written 8 books altogether.
Yeah.
So obviously you're doing something right. They have something to offer.
Yeah, I think that it really touched a nerve. The first one was The Expectant Father, and I think it was really the first book like that that really had dealt with men in a relatively serious way. I mean, light, humorous, but also in a way that doesn't say you're an idiot or the kind of Mr. Mom thing of plugging your nose, and it just makes you out to be more of a buffoon than anything else.
And sadly, television does that too. A lot of sitcoms make the dad look like a buffoon. You're right, and that's not fair.
One of my rants that I can get into, which we'll do another time.
Oh, rant away.
About the portrayal of fathers in the media just is not good.
Yeah.
And it really, what the problem with is that it sets up little girls, I think, who end up watching these kinds of things on television and commercials and everywhere else, and they say, you know, no sense in really having an involved dad around. I can do it myself. And you get a bunch of little boys who say, I don't want to do this. I mean, people are going to laugh at me.
Have you ever touched on the divorced father?
Oh yeah, I have a book called The Single Father.
Okay.
Which is another area where there's a lot of difficulty going on, because so many guys go from seeing their kids every day. They may not be the most actively involved father, but they see them every day. They help the homework, and they know that they're playing an important role. All of a sudden, you go from that to every other weekend and a Wednesday afternoon, and you feel lost and out of touch, and you feel not valued or needed, and it's easy to kind of step away. And the courts really don't help too terribly much, which is so sad. As
a man, you really feel proud of taking care of your family, whether that's, you know, the mom does too, but as a dad, you really take that, there's pride there, and to have some of that stripped away from you really hurts. It
really questions or makes you question kind of who you are. And what's really interesting, though, is that the women, the second wives of these divorced fathers, are really in many ways the most passionate advocates for fatherhood, is they see how their husbands are hurting, that they're not seeing their kids and not being able to spend time with the kids, and they see how the kids are hurting, and so they're out there pushing for more time, a more equitable split.
Have one of those myself.
Yeah. Let's talk about, you get a lot of feedback obviously from men, and you hear from them, and they've got questions for you. What are some of the really common questions that you have from fathers out there?
Well, I get for the military father, for example, I get a lot of email from guys who either will tell me where they are, they won't tell me where they are, but they're someplace. And it's very common is, I'm coming back home in a couple of months and my wife is pregnant and I'm going to have this baby that I've never seen before. How can I possibly stay involved in the pregnancy while I'm 8,000 miles away?
What do you tell them?
Well, what I tell them is, I think one of the most interesting and the most important things to do is get yourself a tape recorder, whether it's a video camera or something. Record yourself reading some stories, the kind of thing you can do before you leave. Ask your wife to play them for the baby so that when you come back, the baby will hear your voice and will actually turn. I mean, brand new babies, hours old, will recognize their dad's voice, and they'll turn towards it when the guy says hello. And that's it's so important for these guys to feel when they come back home after having been gone for a long time. It doesn't have to be the military, it could be anywhere, to feel that connection, like, oh my, this baby knows me.
I just got
and that
chills.
Brings you right in.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful idea, and it's such a sad situation in so many places, but
it is.
You're doing...
the resources are out there now.
Yes, and the latest one is The Military Father. We do appreciate it very much. Armin Brott.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Hey, we'll be right back. Don't go away.